Tom sat in the corner of the mess hall, his tray untouched. Around him, the sounds of clinking cups and murmured conversations filled the air. The Galactic Alliance outpost on Vega Station was busy as always, but today something felt different. There was a tension in the air, a quiet hum of curiosity. Tom knew why. He could feel the eyes on him. The new alien envoy had arrived that morning. A tall figure covered in silver armor, his face hidden behind a smooth mask. The envoy's name was Kelran, and he had one goal when he stepped off the docking bay. He wanted to meet the human soldier everyone talked about. Tom was used to being noticed, but not like this. He had been stationed at Vega Station for 6 months, keeping to himself, performing his duties, and avoiding unnecessary attention. Still, no matter how much he stayed silent, whispers followed him. Whispers about the Orion Gate. Whispers about a number no one dared say out loud. Kel Rand didn't wait long. He crossed the mess hall with steady steps, the kind of walk that told everyone he was used to being in control. Conversations died down as the envoy stopped in front of Tom's table. "You are Tom of Earth?" Kelran's voice was deep and calm, his words carrying a weight that silenced the room. Tom looked up, meeting the envoy's gaze. "Yes," he said simply. Kelran tilted his head slightly. "The Council wishes to know your confirmed battle count." The question hung in the air like a challenge. Soldiers paused mid-bite. A group of alien technicians in the corner stopped talking entirely. Even the station's ventilation hum seemed quieter. Tom set down his fork. "I don't share that information." Kelran's mask glinted under the ceiling lights. "It is important to the Alliance. We keep records for every warrior." "Why would you refuse?" "Because it's not a number to be proud of," Tom said. His tone was steady, but inside, he could feel the weight of old memories pressing in. Kelran straightened, his voice carrying across the room. "You do not wish to answer. That means the number is either too small or too large to admit." The soldiers around them shifted uncomfortably. They had heard the rumors too. Some said Tom's kill count was in the hundreds. Others claimed it was in the thousands. But no one knew for sure. Tom's eyes didn't waver. "It means the number doesn't matter." That response only made Kelran more curious. Everything matters in war. Human numbers tell the story of a warrior's worth. Tom finally leaned back in his seat. Numbers tell one part of the story, but they don't tell you what it cost. Kelran stood silent for a moment, as if studying Tom's face. Then, without another word, he turned and left the mess hall. The conversation slowly returned, but they were quieter now, filled with speculation. The mystery had only grown. Later that day, Tom walked the station corridors. He could feel the stares. A pair of alien engineers paused their work to watch him pass. A group of young recruits whispered as he went by, their voices carrying just enough for him to hear. "Do you think it's true that he—" "Shh, don't say it out loud." Tom ignored them. He had learned long ago that rumors live their own life. Trying to fight them only made them stronger. When he reached the observation deck, he stood before the wide glass panels. Beyond them, the stars stretched out in endless black space. He liked it here, out in the void. There were no questions, no demands for numbers, just the quiet truth of the universe. A voice broke his thoughts. "They're going to keep asking." "You know," Tom turned. It was Mira, a human pilot stationed on Vega. She was one of the few people who spoke to him like he was just another soldier. "I know," Tom said. "They think you're hiding something big," Mira continued. "And maybe you are." Tom gave a faint smile. "Maybe." She stepped closer, looking out at the stars with him. "Whatever happened at Orion Gate, you don't have to tell me. But you should know people here look up to you, even if they don't understand." Tom stayed silent. He wasn't looking for admiration. He had seen enough battles to know there was nothing glorious about war. The stories the recruits told, the legends they whispered, none of them carried the weight of reality. They didn't know the sound of the battlefield when everything went wrong. They didn't know the choices that left a mark long after the fight ended. Mira sighed and patted his shoulder. "Just be ready. The new envoy isn't going to let this go. If the Council wants your number, they'll find a way to get it." Tom nodded, but he wasn't worried about the Council. Numbers were just numbers. What mattered was the truth. Behind them, and that truth was something he would never hand over lightly. That night, Tom sat alone in his quarters. The lights were dim, the hum of the station's systems a constant background sound. He opened a small metal box on his desk. Inside were a few old items, a patch from his first unit, a broken wrist communicator, and a folded piece of paper. He unfolded it slowly. It was a casualty report from Orion Gate. Names filled the page. Too many names. He closed his eyes and took a slow breath. That was the real number. Not how many he had taken, but how many he had lost. When he folded the paper and put it away, he felt the old heaviness settle in again. The galaxy wanted a statistic. They wanted to turn his life into a story told over drinks in the mess hall. But Tom knew better. War wasn't a story, it was a shadow that followed you forever. Somewhere in the distance, Vega Station's comms crackled to life, announcing the arrival of a warlord from the outer systems. Tom didn't pay much attention until he heard the name Zora Th. He had heard it before. A veteran warrior, loud and proud, famous for boasting about his victories. And if Zorth was coming here, Tom had no doubt what the first question would be. The galaxy wouldn't stop chasing that number. But Tom also knew one thing: they weren't ready to hear it. The next morning, Vega Station's docking bay was alive with activity. Cargo haulers hovered in place, crews hurried to unload supplies, and security officers lined up in perfect formation. Word had spread Zorth, the warlord of the outer systems, had arrived. Zorth was hard to miss. He was a towering figure with broad shoulders, his armor painted in the deep red of his clan. The plates were covered with dents and scratches, each one telling the story of a battle survived. A heavy sword rested on his back, though he didn't need it to look dangerous. His eyes were sharp, scanning the room like a predator searching for prey. Tom had no interest in joining the welcome crowd. He was on the observation level, looking down at the bay from above. Zorth's reputation was well known. He was as famous for his victories as he was for his pride. The warlord thrived on challenges, using them to prove his dominance, and Tom could already guess why he was here. The station commander, a tall insectoid named Relvar, stepped forward to greet Zorth. "We welcome you to Vega Station, warlord. The council has arranged your quarters, and I'm not here for quarters," Zorth interrupted. His voice was deep, carrying across the bay like a drumbeat. "I'm here for the human." The crowd stirred. Several soldiers exchanged nervous glances, even from above. Tom could feel the weight of Zorth's words. "The one they call Tom," the warlord continued. "I have heard much about him. They say he has faced battles beyond counting. They say his kill count is unmatched. I wish to know if the stories are true." Relvar hesitated. "Tom is a member of this station's crew. He is not obligated to. I challenge him," Zorth said, his tone leaving no room for debate. Here, now, the station fell silent. A dual challenge from Zorth was no small matter. Few accepted, and even fewer walked away unscathed. Tom's sighed and left the observation deck. The more he avoided this, the more it would grow. Better to face it directly. By the time he reached the docking bay floor, the crowd had formed a wide circle. Zorth turned when he saw him, his eyes lighting with interest. "You are Tom," the warlord said. It wasn't a question. "That's right," Tom replied. "I want your number," Zorth demanded. "I want to know how many you have taken." Tom met his gaze without flinching. "I don't give that number." Zorth's smile was more like a challenge than amusement. "Then prove it. Face me. If you win, I will believe the stories. If I win, you will tell me the number." Tom looked at the crowd. Soldiers, technicians, even the envoy Kelrin, they were all watching, their faces full of expectation. This was exactly what he didn't want. "I don't fight without reason," Tom said. "That is reason enough," Zorth replied, stepping forward. The ground almost seemed to shake under his weight. "You carry a legend, human. Legends must be tested." Tom stayed still. "Legends are for stories. I'm just a soldier." The warlord's grin faded slightly, replaced by a look of respect. "You refuse me, yet you stand your ground. Few have done that." "I'm not here to impress anyone," Tom said. "And if you think a number will tell you who I am, you're wrong." Zorth studied him for a long moment, the silence stretched, heavy and expectant. Then, with a deep breath, the warlord stepped back. Very well, human. I will not force you today, but I will find my answer, and when I do, the galaxy will hear it. He turned and walked away, his heavy armor clinking with each step. The crowd slowly began to disperse, though their whispers followed Tom like shadows dot as Tom left the bay. Kelleran appeared at his side. You avoided the duel, the envoy said, his voice even. Some will say you feared him. Let them, Tom replied. I've fought enough battles for a lifetime. I don't need another. To prove anything. Kelleran tilted his head. You think you can avoid it forever. The galaxy is hungry for legends. They will not let this rest. Then they'll be disappointed, Tom said. He walked away. But the conversation stayed in his mind. He knew Kelleran was right. The more he refused, the more they would push. And now Zorth was involved, a man who never let go of a challenge. Later, in the training hall, Tom worked through his drills in silence. The rhythmic sound of his strikes against the practice dummy helped him focus. But he wasn't thinking about the fight he had avoided. He was thinking about Orion Gate, about the choice he made there that no one would understand. To him, the number wasn't a mark of skill, it was a scar. Mira found him there, leaning against the doorway. I heard you turn down Zorth. Tom didn't pause in his movements. You heard right. Brave or foolish, she said. I'm still deciding. Tom finally stopped, lowering his training weapon. I'm not here to entertain anyone. Maybe not, Mira said, but word travels fast. Half the station thinks you're some unbeatable warrior. The other half thinks you're hiding something dark. Either way, you've become the most interesting person on Vega. That's not a good thing, Tom said. It might be, she replied with a small smile. If it keeps people from underestimating humans. Tom shook his head. That's not the kind of respect I want. Before she could respond, the station's intercom came to life. Attention all crew. A private vessel is requesting emergency docking. Possible hostile pursuit. All security personnel to positions. Tom and Mira exchanged a quick glance. Without another word, they headed for the armory. Whatever trouble was coming, it was a welcome distraction from talk of numbers and challenges. As they suited up, Tom felt the familiar weight of his gear settle onto him. This was what mattered, not duels for pride, not rumors, but protecting lives in the moment. The emergency docking bay was in chaos. Lights flashed red across the walls. Alarms echoed through the corridors, and the heavy blast doors rumbled open. A small vessel slid into the bay, its hull scorched from weapons fire. Smoke poured from a crack near the rear thrusters, and panels sparked dangerously. Tom was already there with Mira, rifles ready, as the vessel's ramp lowered. A group of frightened passengers stumbled out to alien traders, a medic, and a child clinging to one of the trader's arms. Behind them, another figure appeared. His armor was battered, and he moved with a limp. Tom recognized the markings on his shoulder plate. Frontier Defense. They're right behind us. The armored man warned. We only escaped because their flagship got caught in an asteroid drift, but they'll be here soon. The station commander, Relvar, quickly gave orders to secure the passengers and prepare defensive positions. Tom joined the security team at the outer docking corridor, where automated turrets were being armed. Mira slid into the control station to monitor incoming signals. Minutes passed, but the hostile ships never arrived. The alert level was lowered, but the tension remained when the crew questioned the passengers. One of the traders explained that pirates had attacked their convoy. The pirates had been hunting for valuable military secrets and had mentioned a human soldier. With an unbelievable number, Mira frowned at Tom. Even pirates know now. This is getting out of control. Tom didn't answer. His silence was enough for her to know he was thinking the same thing. By the next day, the story had traveled beyond Vega Station. The alien envoy Kelleran had sent a report to the Galactic Alliance Council, mentioning Zorth's interest in Tom and hinting at the mysterious kill count. What Kelleran intended as a formal note quickly became fuel for speculation. Across the communications network, news channels picked up fragments of the story. On one broadcast, a commentator spoke in an urgent tone. Reports from Vega Station suggest a human soldier with a kill count so high. Even the warlord Zorth hesitated to challenge him. Is this the warrior from the Orion Gate battle? On another channel, a host smirked, or maybe it's just human exaggeration. The species is known for bold claims, but if the rumors are true, we may be dealing with the most dangerous fighter in Alliance history. Tom didn't need to watch the broadcasts to know what they were saying. Every corridor he walked down seemed louder now, every conversation stopping the moment he passed. The mystery was no longer contained, it was spreading through the galaxy. That afternoon, the station commander called Tom into his office. Rover's desk was cluttered with datapads and holomaps, but his posture was tense. The council has sent a request, Rovar began. They want an official record of your service. Specifically, your confirmed battle count. Tom stood still. And if I refuse, Rover's mandibles clicked in frustration. Then they will send investigators. And if they can't get the number, they will make their own. That may be worse. Tom knew he was right. A false number would be dangerous. It could either paint him as less than he was, or as something even more fearsome than reality. Neither outcome would help. I'll think about it, Tom said. Rovar leaned forward. I am not telling you to give them the number, but the galaxy is looking for answers. And if we don't control the story, someone else will. That night, in the mess hall, Tom sat with Mira at the far corner. She was reading incoming traffic logs on her datapad. You've got ships from 3 different systems requesting permission to dock. They're not carrying cargo. They're carrying reporters. Tom rubbed his temples. Great. It's not just reporters, she said. Military observers, too. They all want to see you. Some want to recruit you. Others want to figure out if you're a threat. Before Tom could respond, Zorth walked into the mess hall. The warlord ignored everyone else and came straight to their table. You're famous now, human. Zorth said, half the galaxy debates your number. Some think you're a myth. Others think you're a weapon. I'm neither, Tom said. Flatly. Zorth pulled up a chair and sat down. I've fought many warriors. Most crave recognition. But you hide from it. That makes the galaxy even more curious. Tell me, why do you refuse to speak? Tom didn't answer right away. He studied Zorth's face, wondering if there was a way to explain it that someone like him would understand. It's not a number I'm proud of, Tom finally said. It's not something I want to carry as a banner. It's something I live with every day. Zorth nodded slowly, a rare flicker of understanding in his eyes. Then it must be a very high number. Mira gave Zorth a sharp look. Maybe you should stop asking. The warlord smirked. I'm not the only one asking. Soon, every system will demand the truth. And when they find it, the galaxy will never see humans the same way again. 2 days later, the rumors reached the Outer Rim colonies. There, the stories grew even wilder. Some claimed Tom had destroyed entire fleets alone. Others said he had faced armies without backup. Tom was in the training hall when Mira rushed in with a datapad. You need to see this. She pulled up a feed showing a council hearing. A delegate from the Vethers system was speaking loudly. If this human's number is what the rumors say, then the Alliance must reconsider its trust in Earth's soldiers. One individual should not have such destructive capability. Another delegate from the Arvin sector responded sharply. If that number is real, then we should be grateful humanity stands with us. In times of war, such a soldier is an asset. Tom switched off the feed. This is exactly what I didn't want. Now they're going to turn it into politics. They already have, Mira said quietly. That night, Tom stood once again at the observation deck, looking out at the stars. He had thought keeping silent would protect him, but the silence had only made the galaxy shout louder. And now, with the council debating and reporters closing in, he knew it was only a matter of time before someone uncovered the truth about Orion Gate. He just didn't know if the galaxy was ready to hear it. The next morning, Vega Station's command room was unusually quiet. Normally, the large circular space buzzed with chatter from officers monitoring dozens of systems, but today every screen showed the same blinking icon and incoming priority transmission from Earth Command. Commander Rovar stood in the center, his insectoid limbs folded tightly, and glanced at Tom the moment he entered. "This message is for you," Rover said, "and for the council." Tom didn't move closer. "What is it?" Rover's voice was tense. "It's a partial declassification. Orion Gate." The room went still. Even the hum of the holo displays seemed softer. Tom's jaw tightened. He had known this moment would come eventually, but he had hoped it would be years away. Rover turned to the central display and accepted the transmission. A hologram flickered into existence, a man in Earth military uniform, his face marked by deep lines and tired eyes. "This is General Holt. Speaking on behalf of Earth Command," the hologram began. "By order of the Joint Alliance Security Council, we are releasing limited details of the Orion Gate battle to address recent rumors." Tom stayed silent, his gaze fixed on the floor. The general's voice carried a calm weight, but every word landed like a heavy stone. 5 Standard. Years ago, the Orion Gate sector was under siege by a coalition of hostile forces. Human and allied units were outnumbered 8 to 1. Enemy fleets controlled all approach routes, and reinforcements were days away. Retreat was impossible. The hologram shifted, showing tactical maps. Red markers filled the display surrounding. A small blue cluster near a space station marked Orion Gate. The command staff was eliminated within the first 20 minutes. Holt continued. Lieutenant Tom assumed command of the remaining forces. His orders were to hold until reinforcements arrived. Mira, standing behind Tom, glanced at him, but he didn't look back. The hologram zoomed in on the defense line. Through a combination of improvised tactics and unconventional maneuvers, the defending force inflicted catastrophic losses on the enemy. Over the course of 72 continuous hours, they repelled 20 boarding attempts and destroyed 12 capital ships. At the end of the siege, only 30 defenders remained alive out of more than 400. Lieutenant Tom was one of them. Gasps filled the command room. Even Kelrin, who had been quietly observing, shifted uncomfortably. General Holt's tone lowered. "We will not release the confirmed battle count, as that number remains classified. But the survival of Orion Gate was made possible by Lieutenant Tom's leadership and actions. That is the only truth the galaxy needs to know." The hologram ended. The room was silent. Relvar finally spoke. 12 capital ships, with a defense force that small. Impossible. "It happened," Tom said quietly. Kelrin stepped forward, his mask tilting toward Tom. "The number must be beyond comprehension if Earth refuses to speak it. Even now, with the galaxy demanding answers, it's not about the number," Tom said. "It's about the people who didn't make it, within hours." The declassified record had spread across every Alliance channel. The details, small as they were enough to ignite the galaxy's imagination. News commentators called it the most lopsided victory in recorded history. Military analysts dissected the map images, trying to guess the tactics Tom had used. Some claimed no human could have done it alone, while others insisted the record proved humans were the most dangerous warriors in the Alliance. Zora Th, when he heard the news, came straight to the training hall where Tom was working alone. "So it's true," the warlord said without preamble. "You fought for 3 days without surrender. You destroyed fleets that should have crushed you." Tom didn't look up from the training dummy. "It's true enough." Zorth's eyes narrowed. "And yet they still keep the number secret. I understand now. It is not because they wish to hide weakness. It is because they wish to protect the galaxy from knowing what one human can do." Tom stopped his strike mid-swing. "If people knew the number, they'd stop seeing me as a soldier and start seeing me as a weapon." "I'm not a weapon, Zorth. I'm just someone who did what he had to do to keep people alive." Zorth was silent for a moment, then gave a slow nod. "I will not ask again." Later that evening, Mira joined Tom in the observation deck. Outside the glass, the stars seemed endless. They didn't even tell the whole story. She said quietly, "They told enough." Tom replied, "I know you don't want to talk about it." Mira continued, "But why keep it all hidden? The truth could shut down all the rumors." Tom shook his head. "It wouldn't shut them down. It would make them worse. Some would want to make me a hero. Others would want to test me. And some would want to use me." Mira studied his face. "And you don't trust any of them?" I trust a few, Tom admitted. But I trust the galaxy to make the wrong choice if it thinks I'm just a number. By the next cycle, the council had scheduled a special session to discuss Orion Gate. Delegates from dozens of worlds were demanding more information. Some wanted to award Tom the highest honors the Alliance could give. Others argued that keeping such a soldier in active service was a risk to balance of power. Tom knew he would be called to testify soon. He had no intention of giving them what they wanted, but he also knew they wouldn't stop until they believed they had the truth. As he left the observation deck, his comms unit buzzed with an encrypted message from an unknown sender. 4 words appeared on the screen. They are coming for you. The council chamber of the Alliance was a massive hall built inside the orbiting city. Above Zorth Prime, the ceiling arched high above, supported by columns that looked as if they were carved from silver stone. The air was filled with the faint hum of translation devices, and rows of alien delegates whispered in dozens of different voices. At the center of the room, standing tall in front of the high table, was Daniel Kane. His armor was scratched from battles, his eyes sharp, but his stance calm. He had been called here after the battle on Vora's Edge, the one that had shattered the invading armada's last wave. The kill count recorded by the Alliance made every delegate pause. When they first saw it, numbers like that were not common for any soldier, let alone a human who had been in the galaxy for only a few years. Chairman Veller, a tall insectoid leader, tapped his claw on the crystal surface. Captain Kane, the Alliance thanks you. You have done what many believed impossible. The enemy fleet was broken, and their war leaders have fled. Without you, hundreds of worlds would have fallen. Daniel gave a short nod. I did my duty, nothing more. The delegates exchanged quiet glances. Many could not believe how calm he was after such a victory. To them, he had become a legend overnight. A deep voice came from the far left. It was Admiral Corrin, a scaled warrior from the Dravos species. Captain, the Council wishes to offer you something unusual. Your skills, your record, your survival against impossible odds. All of this has convinced us you must be placed at the head of the Alliance's Special Strike Command. Daniel raised an eyebrow. Special Strike Command. Veller's claws tapped again. A small but elite unit with the best technology and the freedom to move without the normal chains of command. You will answer only to this council. You will go where no army can go. Your number of confirmed kills shows you can handle situations others cannot. The words hung in the air. The number was something the galaxy could not stop talking about. In the battle alone, Daniel had destroyed more than 100 enemy ships and led countless ground victories. The number was a shock even to experienced commanders. Daniel stood silent for a moment. He knew this kind of role came with risks. He had seen what happened to those who became symbols. They were used until there was nothing left of them. I appreciate the offer, he said slowly, but what I want to know is, why now? You have fleets. You have commanders. Why would you need me so urgently? This time, it was the quiet voice of Lady Theron, an elder from the water world of Mysora, that answered, because the war is not over. The enemy is not retreating in fear. They are regrouping, and they have a new weapon. We need someone who has proven he can fight the impossible. The chamber grew tense. The mention of a new weapon drew uneasy murmurs from the delegates. Daniel thought of the soldiers he had lost, the battles fought on broken worlds, the cries of civilians when the sky burned. He knew he could walk away, disappear into the far edges of space, but something in his gut told him that this was only the beginning. Finally, he spoke. If I take this command, I do it my way. I choose my people, I choose the missions, and I refuse to be turned into a propaganda tool. Veller tilted his head, agreed. The Alliance needs results, not symbols. The offer was accepted then, and there, the council chamber erupted in conversation. Some were relieved, others doubtful. But all knew one thing, with Daniel Kane leading the Special Strike Command, the galaxy's enemies had just gained a new reason to fear. After the meeting, as he walked out into the open corridors of the orbiting city, Daniel was met by a familiar face, Mira, the alien pilot who had flown beside him during the last battle. She was leaning against a railing, her silver eyes watching him. "So, they've given you the big job," she said with a faint smile. "Looks like it," he replied. "You know what that means, right? You're going to be right in the middle of whatever nightmare is coming." Daniel gave a short laugh. "When have I ever been anywhere else?" She smirked, but her gaze stayed serious. "Then I'm in. You need someone who can fly through hell without blinking." He looked at her for a moment, then nodded. "Then we start now. If this new weapon is real, I'm not waiting for it to come to us." The next day, Daniel began selecting his team. From the toughest soldiers to the smartest engineers. From scouts who could disappear into shadows to strategists who could predict enemy moves. Before they happened, each one was someone he had fought beside or trusted in past battles. By the time the ship was ready, the crew stood assembled on the launch deck. Some were human, some alien, but all had the same determination in their eyes. Daniel stepped forward, looking at them. "We're going after something dangerous. We don't know how big it is, how strong it is, or what it looks like. But I know this. We've beaten impossible odds before, and we'll do it again." The hangar's massive doors opened, revealing the dark expanse of space. The ship lifted off, engines humming, and the stars stretched before them, somewhere. Out there, the enemy's new weapon waited, and Daniel Kane was coming for it. The special strike ship cut through space like a silent shadow. Its sleek black hull absorbed the star's light, making it almost invisible against the vast darkness. Daniel Kane stood on the bridge, eyes fixed on the glowing star field ahead. The crew around him worked in quiet focus. "We are nearing the last known coordinates of the enemy's new weapon," said Mira, her voice calm as she scanned the sensors. "No activity detected yet, but the area is heavily shielded." Daniel nodded. "Keep all systems ready. We don't know what's waiting for us." The ship slipped closer to the target zone, a small system near the edge of the galaxy, where strange energy signatures had been reported. The ship's scanners picked up faint pulses, but the source remained hidden behind layers of electronic jamming. The crew was tense. This mission was unlike any they had faced. No clear enemy fleets. No open battle. Just the unknown. "Commander Kane," said Jordan, the team's tactical officer. "Sensors show a massive structure orbiting the system's main planet. It's emitting high levels of radiation and energy. Could it be the weapon?" Daniel asked. "Most likely, but it's heavily protected with automated defenses." Daniel's mind raced. This was what the Council had warned them about, a weapon so powerful. It could shift the balance of the entire war. The ship slowed as they approached the planet. The huge structure came into view. A massive ring-like station with glowing red panels and spikes jutting out like claws. It rotated slowly, casting shadows on the planet's surface below. "Everyone ready?" Daniel asked. Looking at his team, they nodded. The plan was simple but risky. They would dock on the station's outer ring, plant explosives in critical areas, and escape before the defenses could react. No direct fight. They didn't have the firepower to take it head dash on dot as the ship docked. Alarms suddenly blared. Red lights flashed across the control panels. "Hostile ships incoming," shouted Jordan. The crew scrambled to battle stations. Daniel grabbed his rifle and checked his gear. Mira took the pilot's seat, her hands steady on the controls. "They're launching fighters, small, fast ships. We'll have to fight through them." The docking bay shook as laser blasts hit the hull. Daniel gritted his teeth. This was the moment they had trained for. "Team Alpha, move out," Daniel ordered. "We have to plant charges before they lock us in." The hatch opened, and Daniel led the way into the station's dark corridors. The air was cold and smelled faintly of metal and oil. The team moved carefully, weapons ready. "Stay close," Daniel said. "Watch for traps." As they advanced, automated turrets activated along the walls. Lasers cut through the air, narrowly missing the team. They returned fire, disabling the turrets one by one. In the distance, they heard footsteps, the stations. Robotic guards moving to intercept. The team prepared for a fight. The battle was fierce but brief. The robots were strong, but predictable. Using careful tactics and teamwork, Daniel's team disabled the guards and pushed forward. After planting charges in 3 key locations, Daniel radioed Mira. Charges set. Time to get out. Mira's voice was calm. We're launching decoys and scrambling their sensors. You've got 5 minutes before reinforcements arrive. The team raced back to the docking bay, alarms blaring and red lights flashing. Daniel felt his heart pounding, but he kept his focus. As they reached the ship, enemy fighters swarmed around them. Laser blasts rocked the hull. Mira maneuvered expertly, dodging attacks and firing back. The ship's engines roared to life as they broke free from the station. Explosions rocked the enemy structure as the charges detonated. The station shook violently, debris flying into space. Daniel watched the destruction through the viewport. The weapon was crippled, but not destroyed. We bought ourselves time, Daniel said. But the war isn't over. Mira nodded. They'll rebuild, and they'll come after us harder. Daniel looked around at his team, tired, bruised, but alive. We survived by fighting smart. He said, we won by never giving up. The ship slipped away into the darkness of space. The galaxy was watching, and Daniel Kane was ready for whatever came next. The special strike ship sailed through quiet space after the explosion at the enemy's weapon station. Inside, the crew was exhausted but alert. Daniel Kane stood on the bridge, his eyes on the stars ahead. The mission had succeeded, but the war was far from over. News of their attack spread quickly through the galaxy. Reports called it a daring strike against impossible odds. The Alliance channels buzzed with praise and disbelief. Many saw Daniel as a hero who had changed the course of the war. Back on Vega Station, the atmosphere had shifted. Soldiers and civilians alike now looked at Daniel differently. Where once there had been whispers and rumors, there was now respect and awe. His name was spoken with admiration, but also with a hint of caution. Kelrin, the silver-armored envoy, met Daniel in the station's main hall. Your actions have made waves across the council, Kelrin said. Some fear what you represent. Others see hope. Daniel nodded. I'm no different than anyone else. I just do what's needed. Kelrin studied him. That may be so, but your kill count, your survival, your leadership, they make you more than a soldier. You are a symbol. Now, Daniel frowned. Symbols can be dangerous. Kelrin agreed. Yes, they can inspire, but they can also divide. The galaxy watches you, and what you do next will shape many futures. Daniel understood. He could not stop the legend, but he could choose how to use it. Meanwhile, Zorth watched the news feeds from his stronghold. The warlord's face was hard to read. The human success challenged everything he believed about strength and battle. He respected Daniel's skill, but worried about the effect it had on other warriors. That human is a storm, Zorth muttered to his advisor. We must prepare for what comes next. Back on the ship, Daniel gathered his team. The weight of their mission was clear in every face. We did something important, Daniel said. But the enemy will not stop. We have to be ready. Mira spoke up. Our next move has to be smarter, faster. They will expect us to return. Daniel nodded. We'll keep pushing their limits. We'll find their weaknesses and strike before they know it. The crew's determination grew. They had faced death and come back stronger. They believed in Daniel's leadership. Days later, the Galactic Alliance held a ceremony to honor the team. Daniel stood before the gathered delegates, his expression serious. You have all witnessed courage beyond measure, the council chairman said. This team represents the best of the Alliance. Their victory shows that even in the darkest times, hope remains. Daniel accepted the award quietly. He thought of every person lost in battle, every sacrifice made. The kill count was no longer just a number, it was a reminder of the cost of war. After the ceremony, Daniel returned to his quarters. Mira was waiting. They want more from you now, she said softly. Daniel looked at her. I know, but you're ready, she added. For whatever comes, Daniel smiled faintly. As ready as I'll ever be. The galaxy continued to watch. Daniel Kane's legend grew with every story told. He was no longer just a soldier. He was a symbol of resilience, a reminder that even when odds are impossible, courage can change. Fate, the war was far from over, but with Daniel leading the charge, hope burned brighter than ever.